Hey, Conor here at Neversink Farm, and I wanted to show you some different ways I manage different beds over the winter in a minimal no-till system. And this first one is cover cropping. So I cover crop the beds with, here this is peas. I like something that's going to die in the winter that I don't have to deal with because I'm not going to be tilling it in, I'm not going to pull it out. It needs to die and die down, and then it creates a mat. As you can see here, this nice mat on top of the soil that's protecting it. And once the spring comes, what happens with peas, and it stays vegetative throughout the winter, but in the spring it dries up and begins to break down. So here I'll show you, like, see how that like just crumbles up and flies away? That's not how it is in the winter. It's actually like just laid down peas and like sort of half green. But this is perfect because in the spring I can come along, put down some organic soybean meal or alfalfa meal or whatever amendments I need, put it right on top of the pea, put compost on top of that, and then I can run the iconoclast and cultivate it so that I get a nice smooth bed. I mean, you can just, plant right into it, but I think it's better to get it somewhat incorporated, at least into that layer. This way the bed underneath is untouched and we're just adding another layer on top, and we just keep doing that each year and just building up our soil. Here, let's go check out another one. Over here I do my final harvest really late. This was chard and kale, and we'll just take the tops off very late in the season, into November, and sell them at the market, and then we just leave the root system here and the plants. But it's too late to plant any cover crop, but this will hold things in place. You'll see that there's a little bit of peat I added just before winter, and it's still in the same place, which is good. And then in the spring you can see there's a little bit of root, but it's already breaking down really nicely. You see that? And we just leave it right in place, and we'll just go ahead and replant. I'll cover it with some compost and amendments, but we can just go ahead and replant it and just leave that vegetable matter here. And that seems to work out nicely for this because, we like to sell late into the season. All right, so over here we were growing herbs, and I think we're growing some fennel, but we're growing it really late. So again, this is a section where we could have put down some cover crop. So I just leave the crop residue and put the compost on actually before winter. And so things can rot under the compost. And I'll do that maybe with spinach, do that with cilantro, crops like that. And then, yeah, you can see by the time the spring comes, they're so brittle and everything that they just fall apart. And whatever's under the compost is usually rotted and gone, right? You just have very little plant material down there. So I can smooth this out with the iconoclast and then go ahead and plant. And that's really it, all there is to do in the spring on a bed like this. And one of the final ways that I keep the soil protected in the winter is just by growing in it. And here is garlic, but I also overwinter onions. You can overwinter leeks, spinach, but I do spinach where it keeps alive, but we're actually not going to harvest it. We'll just cover it with compost. But the garlic will actually sell. And so once that's planted, it gets fertilized and then it gets covered with a little bit of compost. But you can see here we put the compost very thin. So there's a layer of compost on top of the soil that's already breaking down. And the garlic's already coming up through the snow here and protecting it in the early spring. All right, so thanks for watching on different no-till methods I do here at Neversink Farm. And if you like the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you soon.